The battlefield was silent, but it was a heavy silence, the kind that carried the weight of lives lost and ships destroyed. Smoke curled lazily from craters where once alien war machines had roared. Captain Ethan Drake crouched behind a jagged slab of rock scanning the horizon. His squad of 5 was spread out, keeping low. Humans had never been strong enough to match the Cytherians in numbers or raw power, but they had resilience, cunning, and an unbroken will. "Clear on my left," whispered Sergeant Mira, her hand resting on the pulse rifle as her eyes flicked across the battlefield. Ethan nodded. "Good, keep moving. We need to check the crash zone. Command wants to know if the Queen is down." The word Queen made Ethan tense. Kalara, the Cytherian ruler, was a being of myth and fear across several systems. Entire fleets had fallen under her command. Yet here she was, or at least her ship was, smashed into the craters ahead. The squad moved cautiously. The smoke made it hard to see, and the ground shook slightly under distant explosions, the last remnants of the ongoing war. Ethan's heart pounded, but he kept it steady. Soldiers needed control. Fear was dangerous here. Then he saw her. She lay against the jagged edge of a broken hull, wings folded, her iridescent armor scratched and smoking. Kailara's eyes were closed and her chest rose and fell slowly. Ethan froze. He had expected rage, a strike, a threat, but there was nothing. She was hurt badly. Her scales were cracked and a thin trickle of black fluid ran from her temple. A strange, almost human instinct moved through him. Kill her now and the war could end, but he hesitated. "Captain," Mira whispered, her rifle raised. Ethan shook his head. "Not yet, watch, but don't fire." The squad obeyed, hearts beating faster, tension thick. They had been taught that the Queen was merciless. No mercy was possible. But she looked vulnerable. Ethan stepped closer, slowly, deliberately. Every move was calculated. He reached into his pack and pulled out a med kit. Hand steady, he applied a cooling gel to the Queen's temple wound. Kailara's eyes snapped open. They were golden, deep, and intelligent, and for a moment Ethan felt a pang of fear. This was a predator who had ended entire fleets with a thought. Yet she didn't strike. She didn't even shift her massive wings in attack. "You heal?" Her voice was sharp but slow, almost unsure. The sound was guttural and strange to human ears, but understandable. "Yes," Ethan said simply. "You're hurt. I'm helping." "That's it," Kailara blinked. Her gaze softened, not entirely, but enough to confuse him. She tilted her head, studying him as if trying to understand why he would help her, why any human would do so. A growl sounded behind them. A small patrol of Cytherians, probably scouting for their fallen queen. Ethan froze. The squad raised their rifles, ready to fire. But Kailara did something unexpected. She moved. Not with speed, but with careful calculation. She stretched slightly, revealing the sharpness of her claws. Then she crouched beside Ethan, her massive body brushing against his arm, protective, almost reverent. Ethan blinked. "Wait, what are you—" The growl came again, louder, closer. The patrol had noticed movement. "Cover me," Ethan ordered. "I'll move her." Mira's eyes widened. "Captain." "She's no questions. Just fire when I say." Ethan gently but firmly lifted Kailara's torso, half dragging her behind a larger piece of broken hull. The patrol arrived faster than expected, and bullets of plasma sang past them. Kailara, still weak, instinctively swatted one away with a wing, sending 2 Cytherians sprawling. The humans fired back, precise and deadly. Their smaller size and unpredictable tactics gave them an advantage in this chaos. Kailara seemed to watch in fascination, a flash of admiration in her golden eyes. When the small skirmish ended, the patrol retreating, Kailara lay back down, closer to Ethan than before. "You saved me," she said softly. "Yes," Ethan replied, kneeling beside her. "I didn't kill you. Not today." Kailara tilted her head. "Why, help human?" Ethan thought about it. There was no simple answer. Humanity was full of contradictions, strong, weak, brave, fearful. But he spoke the truth. "Because sometimes it's the right thing to do." Kailara seemed to consider that. Her gaze softened again, almost curious. Then she did something even more unusual. She rested her massive head against the side of his leg. Ethan froze. What are you doing?" "Resting," Kailara said simply, "as you do." Humans rested beside one another sometimes, in camps, in bunkers. It was an act of trust, a sign of peace. Kailara had copied it instinctively, without fully understanding why. Yet she felt a strange sense of calm she had never known. The squad exchanged uncertain glances. None of them had ever seen a Zytherian act like this. Mira whispered, "Captain, she's not attacking?" Ethan shook his head. "No, and I think she won't. Not as long as I'm here." Night fell over the battlefield. The smoke and fire of destroyed ships painted the horizon red and orange. The wind carried the scent of burning metal and scorched earth. Humans huddled, keeping watch, rifles ready. But the presence of Kalara, the queen of their greatest enemy, resting beside their captain, created a strange calm. Ethan couldn't help but glance down at her. Golden eyes met his, curious, intelligent, and for a moment unguarded. He wondered what her people would think if they could see her like this, vulnerable, trusting a human not as a prisoner but as something else. Hours passed, tension never fully leaving, but neither did Kalara's quiet presence. Every so often she would shift slightly, adjust her massive wings, or study the human soldiers with mild fascination. They in turn watched her, half in awe, half in suspicion. Mira finally broke the silence. "Captain." "What now?" Ethan sighed. "We wait. We survive the night, and we see what she does in the morning." Kalara, as if understanding, nuzzled closer to him. She let out a low, almost imperceptible hum, a sound humans might call purring. It was alien but strangely comforting. Ethan's heart skipped a beat. He had faced death countless times, led squads into impossible battles, yet nothing had unsettled him like this simple act of trust from a creature meant to be his enemy. "Rest," he whispered, not just to Kalara but to himself as well. The war was far from over, but in this small moment, a human had shown mercy and the queen had chosen something he couldn't name yet but would change everything. Night deepened. Stars flickered through the smoke. And beside him, the most feared creature in the galaxy slept, safe, for now, against the human who had refused to strike. The battlefield waited. The galaxy waited. And a strange, fragile bond had been formed. The morning sun broke over the battlefield, painting the jagged landscape in pale gold. Smoke still rose from the craters, and the scent of scorched metal hung thick in the air. Captain Ethan Drake stirred, feeling the weight of Kalara, the Zytherian queen, lying against his side. Her massive wings had shifted slightly during the night, but she had not left him. "Still, here," Ethan muttered under his breath. Kalara opened one golden eye, blinking slowly. "Human, strange." "You sleep lightly." "I have to," Ethan replied. "Someone's always watching. Even you, apparently." Kalara hummed softly, a low vibrating sound that was both alien and oddly comforting. It was a sound that Ethan had never heard from a Zytherian before, soft, almost musical, and strangely vulnerable. The squad had woken quietly, exchanging cautious glances. Sergeant Mira was the first to speak. "Captain, what's going on?" "She's not attacking, not even trying to escape." Ethan shook his head. "She's learning. Maybe she's curious, maybe she's trying to understand." The humans moved to break camp and prepare for the next leg of their journey. Kalara sat up slowly, her massive claws brushing against the ground, yet she stayed close to Ethan, mimicking his movements almost unconsciously. It was a strange sight, a queen of one of the galaxy's most feared species following a human like a loyal companion. "Move carefully," Ethan instructed. "We're not alone, and reinforcements could be anywhere." They trekked through the jagged rocks and broken metal, keeping their formation tight. Kalara walked beside Ethan, her massive presence both intimidating and reassuring. She observed everything, the way the humans moved, how they spoke, how they worked together. It was behavior she had never noticed among her own kind, who relied on strength, fear, and strict hierarchy. As they moved, a sudden explosion rocked the terrain. A small squad of Zytherian scouts appeared faster than humans expected, weapons blazing. "Ambush," Mira shouted. Ethan raised his rifle, aiming carefully. "Cover me. We protect the queen first." Kalara's eyes narrowed. Though injured, she moved instinctively, her claws swiping at the nearest attackers. She struck with precision, each movement deliberate and lethal. The humans had trained to fight against her kind, yet now she was fighting with them, her attacks carefully coordinated. "Look at her," Mira whispered in awe. "She's helping us." Ethan gritted his teeth. "Focus, don't get distracted." The battle was intense but short. Humans' smaller size and agility allowed them to take cover and fire from unexpected angles. Kalara, though larger and slower than her kind usually were in battle, used her strength strategically. She blocked enemy strikes through debris and protected Ethan whenever he exposed himself. When the last scout fled, smoke rising from their fallen bodies, Kalara lowered herself to the ground again, breathing heavily. Her golden eyes met Ethan's. "You," she said slowly. "You saved me. I save you." Ethan nodded. "We survived because we worked together. Simple as that." Kalara tilted her head. "Together? Unusual. Among my people. Weakness." Ethan gave a small smile. "Sometimes being smart is stronger than being strong. You're learning." Kalara's gaze softened further, and she rested one clawed hand near Ethan's. It was not a human gesture, but it held meaning, respect, recognition, a bond forming without words. The squad resumed their journey, keeping to hidden paths. Kalara mirrored Ethan's movements, learning. She observed how humans checked each other's gear, how they communicated silently, and how they covered one another without needing a command. By midday, she even began mimicking minor human habits, tucking her wings slightly closer, crouching behind cover like a soldier, watching the horizon. "Captain," Mira asked hesitantly, "do you trust her?" Ethan glanced at Kalara. She was no longer just an alien enemy. She had protected his squad, fought beside them, and chosen to remain close despite the opportunity to flee. "Trust is earned," he said. "And right now, she's earned a lot." But not everyone in the squad felt the same way. Corporal Hayes, younger and more reckless, kept his rifle trained on her, suspicion written across his face. "She's a queen," he muttered. "She can turn on us in a second." "We should stop," Ethan snapped. "We fight as a unit, not divided. Watch her, yes, but don't act on fear." Hayes clenched his jaw but obeyed, though his unease lingered. As night approached, they set up a small camp in the ruins of a collapsed building. Kalara sat beside the fire, watching the humans move, observing their simple routines, checking weapons, sharing rations, telling quiet stories to keep spirits high. She mimicked eating not out of hunger but to understand. "You enjoy this?" Ethan asked, curious. Kalara's golden eyes reflected the firelight. "Curious, humans. Small, fragile, yet strong. Brave, I wonder why." Ethan smiled faintly. "Strength isn't always muscle. Sometimes it's courage, thinking fast, or knowing when to help someone." She studied him. Human, different, leader. Not only strong, clever, kind, unusual. The fire crackled and a strange calm fell over the group. Kalara rested her massive head near Ethan again. He glanced at her, unsure how to feel, fear, awe, or something else entirely. She was dangerous, yet she was learning from them. Learning to respect humans in a way no one expected. Then a sudden noise broke the peace. Shouts echoed from outside the building. "Reinforcements, Cytherian reinforcements, larger and better equipped. Everyone up," Ethan shouted. "Defensive positions now." Kalara moved instinctively, placing herself between Ethan and the approaching enemies. The humans flanked her, weapons ready. It was strange and surreal, humans and their greatest enemy fighting together. The battle was fierce. Plasma bolts cut through smoke and debris. Kalara's strength combined with human speed and strategy made them an unpredictable force. She used her massive wings to knock enemies off balance, while Ethan's squad fired from concealed positions. They fought as one unit, instinctively protecting each other. After the last of the reinforcements fell back, Mira exhaled, wiping sweat from her brow. "It was incredible. She saved your life." "Again," Ethan nodded, though he was exhausted. "And we saved hers. That's how it works. Mutual trust, mutual strength." Kalara's golden eyes met his. "Trust's strange, but I feel something. With humans, especially you, human." Ethan felt a pang of emotion he hadn't expected. It wasn't fear, not admiration, it was respect, connection. In this galaxy of war and destruction, a fragile bridge was forming between species. Night returned, and Kalara again rested beside him, her hum soft and rhythmic. Ethan looked around at his squad. They were alive. They had survived another day, and the impossible was happening. The queen of the Cytherians had chosen to stay with humans. "Captain," Mira said quietly, "do you think she'll leave eventually?" Ethan shook his head. "Not today. Not while we're here. Whatever this is. It's bigger than survival. Something's changing. The stars blinked above, distant and indifferent. But down here, in a ruined world of fire and ash, something remarkable was happening. Humans and a Zytherian queen were learning from each other, fighting together and forming a bond that could alter the course of war. Ethan's eyes met Kaelara's once more. She was no longer just an enemy. She was a creature of curiosity, intelligence, and respect, and she had chosen to stay by his side. The night deepened, fires burned low, and in the darkness humans and Zytherian alike slept or rested in a fragile, unspoken truce. Tomorrow the galaxy would continue to wage war, but tonight they were allies bound by courage, trust, and something neither species had expected. Dawn broke over the shattered world of Zythera, its pale light cutting through smoke and the twisted wreckage of ships. Captain Ethan Drake tightened his gloves, checking his rifle and surveying the horizon. The battle was far from over. Rumors had reached him that Kaelara's own court, the ruling council of the Zytherians, was divided. Some blamed her for the previous defeats. Others saw her survival as a threat to their authority. And now, with her choosing to remain with humans, the political storm was about to hit. Kaelara stood beside him, her massive form a mix of grace and power. Though she had been injured in previous skirmishes, her golden eyes burned with purpose. She had learned much from humans, their bravery, their ingenuity, and their moral code. But nothing had prepared her for the confrontation ahead. Her own people demanding loyalty she could no longer give blindly. "Ethan," she said quietly, "we cannot avoid them. My court. They will come." "We face them together," Ethan replied. "Your choice brought you here. That choice is your strength and ours too." The squad was ready, weapons in hand. Mira and the others glanced at Kaelara nervously, but they trusted Ethan. Their lives had been saved more than once by her claws, her intelligence, and her instinct. She was no longer just an enemy. They were allies. The sound of engines and heavy wings grew louder. Kaelara's court had arrived. A fleet descending onto the broken plains, dozens of armored Zytherians poised for battle. Ethan's heart pounded, but he stayed calm. Strategy was his strongest weapon, and humans had learned to fight smarter, not just harder. Kaelara took a deep breath, her massive wings stretching slightly. "I will speak first, then we fight if needed." Ethan nodded, giving her the silent support she needed. The lead counselor, a massive Zytherian named Varric, landed with a crash that shook the ground. His golden eyes glared at Kaelara. "You defy the hive," he growled. "You align with humans? Traitor." Kaelara stepped forward, her claws digging into the metal debris beneath her. "I align with those who fight with honor, with courage," she said, her voice steady. "Humans, this one," her gaze fell on Ethan, "have shown strength not just in battle, but in mercy." "They are my choice," Varric snarled. "Mercy, foolishness. You betray everything we are." Ethan stepped forward, rifle lowered but ready. "Strength isn't just muscle or fear. It's thinking, courage, and knowing what's right. You've been fighting the wrong way for too long. Humans and Kaelara prove there's another path." The counselors hesitated. This human spoke with confidence, strategy, and insight. They had never encountered a species that could combine intelligence with courage so effectively. Even Varric paused, calculating. Kaelara spread her wings, massive and gleaming in the morning sun. "I will not return to a hive that sacrifices honor for power. Humans fight, survive, and protect. They teach more than you ever have." A tense silence fell. The counselors shifted, eyes flicking between Kaelara and Ethan. Then, one by one, wings folded, claws lowered. Some still glared, but the momentum had shifted. The courage and determination of humans and their bond with Kaelara was undeniable. Varric growled one last time, but finally stepped back. "Then you choose your path," he said, voice low but bitter. "But know this, others will not yield so easily." Kaelara turned back to Ethan. "They understand. For now, but war will not stop." "I cannot ignore it," Ethan nodded. "Then we prepare. We fight smarter. We fight together." The days that followed were a series of skirmishes, ambushes, and careful strategies. Humans used terrain, improvisation, and clever maneuvers to outwit the remaining hostile Zytherians. Kaelara adapted quickly, learning to coordinate with them, anticipating human moves in ways even they hadn't expected. One night, after another narrow victory, the squad sat around a small fire. Kaelara rested nearby, watching quietly. Mira spoke first, her voice soft. Captain, she's amazing. She fights like us, but she thinks like us too. It's like she's learning humanity. Ethan smiled faintly. She's more than learning. She's understanding. That's why she stayed by my side. And that's why we survived this long. Kalara tilted her head. I understand. Trust, courage, mercy, humans. Different from what I knew. I respect. The firelight reflected in her golden eyes, showing a creature both alien and familiar, shaped by war but changed by empathy. Then came the final challenge. A massive Zetherian fleet, loyal only to the old court, launched an assault on a human-held outpost. Ethan, Kalara, and the squad moved to intercept. The humans had fewer numbers, but their strategy and Kalara's insight gave them the edge. In the chaos, Kalara led from the front, directing humans and even some of her loyal followers who had joined her. She struck with precision, defended with strength, and inspired with courage. Humans moved in ways her own kind would never expect, flanking, improvising, and turning the tide against overwhelming force. Ethan fought beside her, coordinating attacks, covering positions, and using every tactic he knew. The humans had taught Kalara patience, strategy, and respect for calculated risk, and she had taught them power and presence they had never imagined. By dusk, the enemy fleet had been repelled. The battlefield was littered with the fallen, but the Alliance had survived. Kalara stood amidst the smoke and wreckage, her massive form glowing with victory. She turned to Ethan, golden eyes locking with his. You led them well, humans. Clever, strong, brave. I am honored. Ethan chuckled, exhausted but satisfied. We survived because we fought together, because we trusted each other. That's all that matters. Kalara lowered herself, resting beside him again, her massive head brushing against his shoulder. I will not leave. Human, my place is here, with you. Ethan looked down at her, awe and respect mingling with exhaustion. This was no longer just about survival. It was a bond forged in war, trust, and shared understanding. Humanity had shown the galaxy a different kind of strength. Courage without cruelty, intelligence without arrogance, and mercy without weakness. The squad gathered around, watching silently. Mira smiled. I never thought I'd see a Zetherian queen resting beside a human like this, Ethan nodded. Neither did I, but maybe this is the future. Maybe this is what strength really looks like. The sun set over the battlefield, casting long shadows across the wreckage. Kalara hummed softly, the sound like a gentle wind over the ruins. Ethan rested his hand on her scaled arm. The war was not over, but a bridge had been built, one that could change the galaxy. As night fell, humans and Kalara remained together, a living testament to courage, intelligence, and trust. Tomorrow the galaxy might still challenge them, but tonight, they had forged something stronger than fear. The Queen of the Zetherians had chosen humanity, not just Ethan, but the ideals they represented. And in doing so, she had shown that the smallest acts of courage, kindness, and ingenuity could reshape even the fiercest of enemies. Ethan looked up at the stars, thinking of the battles to come. Beside him, Kalara breathed steadily, a massive form of alien power now tempered by respect and understanding. The galaxy was vast and dangerous, but for the first time in history, humans and a Zetherian queen faced it as allies, equal in trust, unmatched in spirit. And together, they were unstoppable.